Finding it harder to stay engaged at work? Well, it might be more than burnout. Mindset and wellness expert Vaishali Joshi joins us now with how to spot something called emotional fatigue. So let's start off with the difference between emotional fatigue and burnout.
Thanks, Annette. Emotional fatigue is a symptom of burnout. And there are three kinds of burnout. So any one of those, you will start to display something called emotional fatigue. It's a state of feeling exhausted for long periods of time, usually stemming from one trigger or stressor in your life. It is a temporary state, and it is recoverable. So you can recover from it, from just rest and taking some stress management measures. So that's different from burnout, because when you're on your way to burnout, you will experience emotional fatigue. Burnout is a state of inertia. It's a state where there's chronic stress for long periods of time that has gone unattended, and it basically affects your sense of worth, your motivation levels. You stay more disconnected and disengaged. You almost go into this I don't care state. And when you get
about all aspects of your life,
pretty much multiple, you may not care anymore. If your kids are okay, you may not care about what your leader thinks, for example, in the workplace. So when you get to that state where you're also physically so drained and exhausted that you just don't care and cannot extend yourself anymore, and then you are in a state of burnout.
Okay, so emotional fatigue, it could be from one aspect of your life. It could be from home, what's happening at home, what's happening with your kids, or what's happening at work.
Yes. That's right.
Okay.
And the recovery path is very different. As I said, if you are emotionally fatigued, you're still in an active mode of managing everything in your life.
You're just tired.
You're just starting to really get drained, and therefore when you need to recover, it may just feel like needing to step back and recover from rest. As I said, for burnout, it's an entire lifestyle change that may be needed.
Okay.
There may be all kinds of accommodation needed. You step back from everything in your life. You drop all your responsibilities and you go in a state of trying to reconfigure your mind as well as your lifestyle.
Okay, so for emotional fatigue then, what are some of the symptoms or the ways it could manifest itself? How do you know if that's what you have?
In the workplace, and I'll be specific to the workplace because so many of us are bringing this to work. It doesn't matter where it stems from.
Yep.
We are bringing it into the workplace. And it may look like just because it's triggered by one particular source, you may observe someone who's not typically reactive, impatient, frustrated, short-tempered, starting to become that way. And the behaviors that I've observed many times with people like that in the workplace are, they won't let you finish your sentences. They can't ideate with you because they're so fixated on the easiest way out. Some people will show that type of passive aggression, which is almost withdrawing from that conversation. And it could be particular to a particular projects, let's say. So when they're in the context of a meeting room where the specific people associated with a project, it doesn't matter the rest of the work life, but here, in those settings, you will start to experience this person starting to demonstrate this kind of thing. And it's very toxic because it just takes one of those people
in that meeting room.
Yes, in the meeting room or on a project team to start to see the whole team culture start to disintegrate. And that's why it's dangerous in our workplaces, because so many of us are now bringing that into our workplace, displaying various types of behaviors that are indicative of emotional fatigue but are not being addressed.
And this is something that's kind of always gone on, but it's just now being identified. How do you treat it?
So emotional fatigue, as I said,
Yes.
is something that, as a leader, looking for these types of symptoms is very important in the workplace. If you start to see someone's being atypically any of the things I just described, it's really important to make them feel safe about how it is that they can come forward with what's really going on. And when I say safe, it means making sure it's not tied to their performance, like having listening happening independent of people's performance, management circle or process, and making them feel like there's a different kind of thread of conversation that can happen.
And what kind of help is it there out there?
So for emotional fatigue, traditionally our systems have been designed, our benefit systems, for example, have been really designed to give people solutions to go after they hit a certain point.
Yeah.
And that is, it's
almost
reactive, right? So, hey, you've got an employee assistance plan and you can go for counseling, you can go see a psychologist, get a few massages, maybe you need some medication, don't know, right? You can go see your doctor about it. But I think we're at this stage now that it is so prevalent that it is important, given all the human skills that we have our people to display in the workplace. Future skills. Today, read any newspaper, any study will tell you people have to be curious, collaborative, resilient, agile, you name it. And they can't come across that way when they're so under capacity emotionally. So it's really important that employers start to look at what can I proactively do to fortify my talent, and what are those solutions like human skills development pathways that we can give them that helps them understand that they can self-decompress in every day in their own way.
Okay, we've run out of time, but there's so much to uncover with this, so we'll get your links up on our website at chch.com/morninglive. Vaishali, thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks, Annette.